thank you all for coming. Our heart for this ministry is we see this ministry as honestly the most important ministry that we have in this church. Most specifically, because it is the thing that will help us continue the legacy that this church has built for many, many, many years in our community. And so in order for that legacy to continue as these years go on, we need to be sure that we are raising up that next generation that's going to come and take over and continue to be that church that that you all have done such a great job establishing. So it's helpful to have people like y'all who are willing to give up your time, energy, efforts, and do this each and every week. Because I know, I very much know, children's ministry is not my cup of tea, and so God bless all of y'all who have worked with children in the past. I barely like my own, so we appreciate you guys. Michelle and I have been working on what this ministry's potential is. Last year, we were able to kick off Blast, as you all know, and you've been a part of, and it was good. But we feel like there's still a lot to be kind of desired and organized, and without having to put more on y'all, because y'all are already so stretched thin, we wanted a way to be able to kind of organize everything and streamline everything, but also allow a better way for us to implement this ministry to these kids. For us, our mindset is these 4th through 6th graders are like the key to this whole ministry. They are the ones that are going to bring their friends. They are the ones that are going to make or break whether or not this ministry is fruitful numerically. And that's going to start with us. And that requires us to buy into the vision. And so what this is a way, this meeting is our vision casting to you. This is a program that we have decided to partner alongside called Grow Curriculum. And Grow Curriculum is a nationwide children's and student ministry program that has, just unlimited amount of resources and everything. And so what we're doing is we're going to organize this ministry using the Grow Curriculum and around the Grow Curriculum. So there's going to be some changes to like some of the scheduling and things like that. Some of the things that we're doing, and I'll get to here shortly, will look a little different. But what I wanted to start with is just kind of an overview of what this Grow Curriculum is. In front of you, you'll see this thing called the Scope and Sequence. The Scope and Sequence is the curriculum that we're going to use during our Bible study times. In fact, you should, we didn't pass those out, did we? We have these. Do something, Michelle, my goodness. What we're passing out is the first series that Grow Curriculum suggests doing when you start this whole new endeavor. And it's called the Blast Off series. So we gave you a copy of the first weeks, so everybody in the ministry can kind of see what this entails. And then what you see here is the series that they have over the next year. And then on the back page, you can see even a further look into the future. So everything that Grow does is highly intentional in building these core values for kids, and they want kids, no matter what age, by the time they leave children's ministry, to just be firm on these core values, talking about spiritual disciplines and their belief in God and sharing their faith and spending time with each other, these core things. These are the messages in which we will be teaching throughout the year. So up on this board, even though you can't read it, don't stress about it, is our calendar all the way up through July of next year. And we're going to start with the Blast Off, which is not actually on this page. That's our starting one. And that is, you've got the first week of it, but that is a core understanding of like spiritual disciplines for kids. So Blast Off is going to we're going to spend 4 weeks learning spiritual disciplines for kids. And so that's kind of the thing that gets everything started. Then we're going to move into that under construction, and you can see that's that second one. They recommend it for September. We're doing it in October. And you can see all of the stories. It's a message on, or a series on Solomon. Then we're going to move into Unsung Heroes, which we'll skip to the next one on Ruth. It's the one they recommend in November. Then we have, then you can see from there on, we're pretty much in the same schedule at that point. These are all yours to take, so you can take them and review them and look at them. If and when you are teaching, we've printed these up for our Bible teachers. We are willing to make booklets, because they don't sell these in books. They just come in PDFs. But we'll make booklets for you if you want. And they've got all, like, this is the entire Blast Off series right here. So for preschool and for elementary school, 1st through 6th. And so these will be available to each of you who are teaching, or anybody who wants a copy of them. And so what this, again, is allowing us to do is really just kind of bring everybody together. And our hopes is actually this will bleed into our Sunday morning children's church as well. Because there's a couple other series that we won't, that game plan and along the way that we can actually implement on our Sunday morning. And what that's going to do is it's going to help kind of tie everything between our Sunday mornings and our Wednesday nights together. And the purpose behind the Grow curriculum is they want this to be highly interactive with the kids. We build the whole night around fun. They're always moving. They're always doing stuff. In fact, the game that you just played is one of the games, is a game option that they have. So like our games won't just be like going up to the great room and playing Gaga Ball. We'll have that option sometimes. But some of them will be interactive, age-specific interactive to the kids. They can play screen games. They have like outdoor games. They had, one was, I can't remember how do they say it? It was dodgeball backwards. It took us a long time to figure out that the word said dodgeball backwards, where they are all playing dodgeball, but they start with one person on each side. And if you get hit, you're not out. The other team just gets to bring one of their players back in, so it's backwards dodgeball. So like things like that, they've gone through and they've thought all this stuff through. The music that you heard that came in is a small sample of 4 of the songs of I think they said there's 14 new songs. That all, well here, I'll just show you. I have a video. That look and sound very much like something like my kids' age would love. So it's not like hokey, but it's also stuff that they've written, they've done, and they create whole dance videos with it. So the kids are going to all learn these songs and dance with them. And so it'll be something that we'll be encouraging them to listen to throughout the week, and that they're going to learn, and they'll learn 4 or 5 of them in a month, and then they'll learn 4 or 5 of them the next month, depending on when the series goes. It gives us the option. I'll stop that now.
Does the Vacation Bible School?
It's not the same. It's not the same, but they all are kind of similar. So they do actually even have a VBS option that we can tag on. At the end of when we do our VBS stuff, which is an option we can do as well. But the idea is, well, let me go through this, because I think this will be the best way to do it. This is kind of how we're thinking our schedule is going to look. And our idea is that we want to make 2 groups as happy as we possibly can on these blast nights. So our vision is to make the parents as happy as we possibly can, which means our check-in time is going to be like, we've got to be so intentional there. We have to make it very comfortable, very simple, very easy. We have some plans that we'll implement for that. We want to make it just as streamlined and simple as possible. And then, like I said, that 4 through 6. Not that we don't care about these guys. We definitely want these guys to learn, and they're going to go through all the same stuff. But these are the ones that any kind of things that we heard last year, negative, came from this group, right? And this is the group that, honestly, they will bring friends if they think it is great. And so what we're trying to do is really make it great all around. And so, for instance, when they all get here, as opposed to going separate ways, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to all go into the sanctuary. And we are all going to do these worship songs as a big group. They're all going to, in this big scary room, we're going to make it less scary for them. They're going to come in, we're going to spend a little bit of time just doing music together. From that point forward, we're all going to go in and do a split at that point. So the 2 little groups are going to go do their food where they normally do it, and the older kids are going to go up and start playing their games. We're calling it games instead of rec because not all of it, like I said, some of it's screen games. It's not all recreational. You know, some kids don't really like the running around stuff. So we're trying to implement everything for everyone. Then the rest of the time, they're going to go and do their different things. And from 7:20 to 8, this is wrong, by the way, I just realized. 7:20 to 8 is going to be our Bible study time. And that's the time that they're going to go through that little packet that you have. And in that time, we have, you'll notice they're color-coded along the left side, depending upon like what section of in the curriculum you are. And so even built into that time, there are activities. Like the first week, the kids will build little rockets and launchers, and there's a little competition that they'll be doing with just some simple rocket launchers, basically. So the kids will do that. Then there's like I think it was called asteroid toss or something like that, where they're throwing like aluminum balls into a trash can. So it's competitive. They're all in this one room. We're going to build environments around it, which I'll show you here in a little bit. And then you have the teaching time with the Bible. And then there's even an option to do smaller groups at the end, where there's some easy, already pre-put together discussion questions that you can break off into a little bit smaller groups and actually have a little more one-on-one time. We have options in this curriculum to create these little, what's called party boxes. And what they are is they're boxes of experiences that you as a Bible teacher or as one of the volunteers get to have with your group. And so, for instance, one of the party boxes is a movie night. And so what we would do for that is, if, say, you're leading the 4th through 6th, for the first hour and 15 minutes, or hour and 20 minutes, whatever, you will go and have a big movie night together, popcorn, all that stuff. You won't do all this normal stuff. And then you'll have your Bible time at the end still, no matter what. But it's just a moment where it's kind of built-in fellowship with your own group. So it's not all just so, just structured and that kind of thing. It allows opportunities for those kind of things. Some of them aren't that extravagant. Some of them are just like silly things that you just get to experience with your groups while still doing your Bible times and that kind of thing. So the goal of what we envision Blast to be is just is a blast. It's fun for not just the kids, but for y'all volunteering and doing it as well. Because it's going to trickle down. If y'all buy into this, they will buy into this. If y'all come in and make it fun, they will think it's fun, even if it's not fun. Like, that's just how they are. They're going to mimic what they're seeing, and that's kind of our heart here. Before I move any further, though, do you have questions, or is there anything that has come to mind that you think we should talk about before we do?
Backing up from the 6 o'clock, the 5:45, how
Yes.
can everyone meet?
Yes. So one of our goals is, like I said, we want to concentrate on the parents and making all of that as easy as possible. So one of the goals that we have is we want to try to do a group huddle every Wednesday night before we start. And so what we're asking y'all to sign on to do is to be a part of that group huddle. We're going to all come together. We're going to pray. We're going to go over real quick any quick announcements or things that we need to talk about, any last minute things. Make sure all of our spots are taken care of and filled, and then we'll kind of split up. But it'll just kind of create a little bit more of a cohesive team around all of this. And so what we're asking is if you can make it by 5:45, no later than 5:45, we'd like to meet in the entrance of the children's wing to do that group huddle time before we begin the night. We understand you guys are volunteers. Some of you are coming from work and stuff, and that's not always going to be possible. Don't worry, we're not going to fire you. No, please, we're definitely not going to fire you. But that's just a way that we can kind of get all on the same page again, and that kind of thing. Another thing that we're going to do for y'all is throughout the year, we want to have some just experiences with y'all, the volunteers. We want y'all to know how much we appreciate you. We want to, love on y'all, whatever it is. We want to have time of fellowship. There's a mid-year thing that we have built in where we'll get together and go, what's working? What is not working? How can we fix this? How can we make it better? What ideas do you have? And that kind of thing. So we want to make sure that you're a part of this whole process because you are this ministry. You are ultimately what is going to make or break what's going on here. And so, yeah. Anything else that I'm missing at this point? I'm going to go over some of the other stuff, but any questions up to this point about anything I've talked about? Yeah.
My concern is the Bible at the end.
Mhm.
Last year, the kids start games, ball games and stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's what they miss.
Yeah.
They leave. I don't really know exactly when they do leave.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were coming at all.
Yeah.
Or if I know at times they were going to the first part.
Yeah.
And it's just my concern that they're missing that.
Yeah, and we'll gauge that as we continue on into the fall. If that is really an issue, and we've got to kind of restructure it. This is our fourth
We've
iteration.
erased that schedule quite a few times and started over.
One of the struggles that we have is being done because we're so, we need volunteers. So many of our volunteers are in other ministries and other things like that. So we have to get them done and out by the time they can go back to choir. So we're not, struggling with any of that. And so that and kind of feeding them and getting all their energy out up front may help us a little bit by the time they're sitting down. But it may not be perfect. We may have to change that for sure.
The other thing is that they're tired.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
getting them at the worst time.
Yeah.
We had little carpet squares that they sat on, but they wanted to
Yeah.
lay down.
I will say that
They
this
came in wanting to lay down.
This is one of those situations where, like, we have kids that come home from school, and the last thing that they're wanting to do is sit down and listen to something. And so that's why this is why that's recommended that you do it this way, because you're kind of allowing them to just like decompress all the way up through it. And yeah, they are tired, but there's not really, unfortunately, there's just not much of a difference we can make with regards to that. If we moved it up a little bit up here, then we're dealing with all of the volunteers that kind of run all the other stuff. All are going to leave us, for choir and things like that, and which is fine. We don't want to alienate them,
Maybe it'll be good that the games aren't so rec focused too.
Yeah.
The boys do get
Yes,
sweaty and
for sure.
thirsty and they get super tired.
And they are not going to the great room. That's another thing that we are going to try to keep everything in the sanctuary and then over into the children's wing area. And so, so we have some specific rooms that we're going to try to create better environments in, but it will allow them to do multiple types of rec/games all at the same time. And then every once in a while, we may take them out into the yard or something to play some of the games and that kind of thing. But the rec room or the great room is real rough because it's just too open, and the kids do want to just go crazy up there. And so we're trying to keep all that structured as well, the best we can. But we'll note that and try to figure out. Like I said, this has been the best workaround for everybody at this point. And so we'll if you're willing to give it a shot for a little bit. But if it's not working at that point, then please let us know, and we'll see what we can do about if there's anything that we can kind of do. That's the problem with believe it or not, we're ending 30 minutes earlier than their brothers and sisters over in the student ministry. So, I mean, I get it. Our kids stay out there until 8:30. My kids stay out here until 8:30 no matter what every night. And so this seems to be the best way that we can kind of get everything in, but also not either going crazy fidgeting during the Bible study lessons because they've got too much energy and they don't want to sit there and learn, or their stomachs are hungry and they're hangry about it. Yeah.
They're all going to be in the sanctuary for music time?
Yeah.
You're going to separate them out?
Yes, so it'll be just like VBS. They'll be separated out by grade, and so part of the group huddle time, we'll talk about okay, we need 3 or 4 of y'all who will go into the sanctuary and just be there. And as we send them down into the sanctuary, they're going to go in and just sit in their rows. We're going to have some stuff playing on the TV, on the screens, like a big countdown and other things that'll hopefully keep their attention. We'll just try to keep them, from running around the sanctuary and stuff. They're going to go into their spot and sit. And the countdown will take place, and then we'll start about 6:05.
So what are
The
we
music
actually going to be doing?
for the music. Yeah, so you're going to help them learn it. I mean, you're going to help them learn the songs, learn the music. It's going to be a little different than the sitting down and teaching them music at that point. Unfortunately, these kids are so hard-headed, and that was the biggest feedback that we heard was they didn't.
Are they have the words and stuff or the motions up on a screen?
Yes.
That they can mimic?
Yes, it's all going to be played just like I played right here. In fact, they have the same songs, but they have dance tutorials versions of it. So it's just the person dancing with the songs.
Are we gonna get that beforehand?
I can absolutely give you those.
So
Yeah.
we can look at it?
Absolutely, yes. And it's going to be up to your comfort level, whether you want to be up on the stage or what. We're not going to put anybody on the stage. Up in the front, dancing in front of them. If you want to just be off to the sides in the aisles, talking to them, teaching them, getting them, just getting them into it. Ultimately, is kind of the thing. So, the biggest request we had was they wanted to do. This is what they do like in schools and stuff. Some of y'all know you're in schools. This is the type of stuff they'll do in schools, like during, I don't know, play times, or I don't know what kind of times they are, but they do all these like little game type songs that require dances and stuff like that. And that was the biggest request that we had from the kids. Honestly, the only request that we had from the kids was that they wanted to do stuff more like that. And so once we saw that this program offered it, we decided that we were going to give that a shot and see if they like it. And there's several songs, and we're not stuck to these. Like, if you all go and see something or hear other songs that you like better that are similar to this, like, we have no problem switching those out. These aren't the necessary parts and that kind of thing. So we're open to absolutely recommendations and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and even at Christmas time, I mean, the songs that they show on there aren't really any Christmas, so we will have to look for different stuff for that time and find some things on our own.
Yeah. Did you have a question?
Well, I'm part of food, but is food really necessary?
Yeah, so one of the things that we were trying to figure out for just so it's not so hard on everybody is the food aspect of it. And what we kind of landed on, and again, we're not stuck to this. Like, if God provides the right people who just want to come in and be like, we'll do all the planning and the cooking and all that stuff, then God bless them, we'll let them do that.
Kids wouldn't eat because they just ate at home.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do know that, getting close to 7:30 and 8 o'clock, they might be getting a little hungry, but if we need more time for other things.
I will
maybe
say,
we could take
when you plan a ministry like this, you always have to plan for the others, not for them. Because our ministry out there, all of our regulars always come in with their own food already ate. But our food that we always provide out there are for the other ones. And that's what we're planning for, is for the ones that don't. So yeah, 90% of the kids may not come and eat. That's not a big deal. We're really planning that for the 10%. And the way we're streamlining that is we're just going to offer 2 simple meals, and they're just going to flip-flop on weeks. So pizza one week, nachos the next week is the idea. Doesn't require much at all on anybody, and they're fairly likable for everybody, easy to clean up and that kind of thing. And so, like I said, we're not sold to this. If God provides enough volunteers that want to take that on, then we will let them go, and they can go to town, cooking and making.
Comes from the pizza place.
Yes, ma'am.
Box,
Yes, ma'am.
The nachos are easy.
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Okay.
Right now, as you can see, we have this list. This is just going off of memory from what we had before. This does not mean that you're stuck to any of this, okay? So don't let that bother you if you're like, I don't really want to do that or whatever. That's not what this is. Clearly, we're still missing several who are in here, and we really still could use more, obviously. The best way we can do that is really, if God puts somebody on your heart, a personal invite. Hey, we're doing something new. Let me put it this way. Some of our core members, kids who are in this group right here, are like, I don't want to go to that. They're good with going to the youth. They've been out to the student center because they're like, this place is cool. Of course, they think that, and there's games and stuff out there, regardless of whatever we actually do out there. And so what we're trying to do is reconvince them, like, give this another shot. Like, I promise you, like, we're trying here. We're trying the best we can with who we have and what kind of funds we have and all the spaces that we have. We're doing the best we can. And so what we're trying to do is just really cast that vision out there that, hey, this is going to be something different. It's going to be fun. I always use GAs as a great example of that. One of the most fruitful ministries in our entire church is GAs. They are packed. And they are packed because the girls have bought in, the leaders have bought in, and they bring their friends. Like, we're baptizing a girl on Sunday. She does not go to this church. She has some family who's attended this church, who attends this church, but she got connected in GAs randomly, and then she has gone to GAs. And then she plays with Elena. Oh, that's right. Okay, not randomly. Elena invited her to GAs. So that's how, and then she went to GA camp and all that. And so, like, if the kids buy into it and the leaders buy into it, like, there is so much potential here. And we know that. And so that's what we're trying to capitalize on. And then what my job is then to connect to get those families, to get the parents. And so while y'all are out there busting your butts trying to love on these kids, I'm going to be doing my best to try to make connections with their families, because that's the issue that we have with GAs as well. Is because it's such a great program, we have a huge like drop-off rate and families that don't actually attend here ever and maybe don't even go to church at all. They just have heard great things about this church and that program, and so they drop their kids off. And so there is a need. There's a massive hole in this area and a lot of potential. And so that's why it may feel like we're, just shaking it all up again. We got to find what sticks and find that program that's going to help y'all and help them in serving them. So if that makes sense. This is not, I don't mean any of this to say that we were bad or did something not good last year. That's not it at all. Like it's such a delicate thing. Like teenagers are even worse, I think. It's just trial and error trying to figure out what in the world is going to connect. They're overstimulated in everything that they do. And so if we can place something that's going to draw their attention, that's what we're trying to do at this point. And they don't need another thing to do, trust me. We don't, as parents, don't need another thing to do. We have so many things to do. But we want to provide something that they want to do. So that's kind of our goal at this point, if that makes sense. Any other thoughts or concerns or questions? Michelle, anything? We are going to have shirts made. I know you can't really see this here, but we are going to, that's another thing that we're going to ask, is that we want to try to build that cohesiveness in the team. And so we want to try to wear these every Wednesday that you can. And so we're going to give you guys all shirts and everything. It's got our little logo in the middle, and that way anybody sees the green shirt, it's like, oh, they work here. They're a part of this thing or whatever. And so that's another thing that we're going to try to do. Let me think. What else am I thinking of here? We're tying in our family Christmas event, Kristen. So
December.
Did I tell you? December 4th. So it'll be.
it's during the babes time. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. It's always the babes time. Yeah, it's just what it's going to be.
That's the first Wednesday in
Yes.
December.
Yes. If that's good. Yeah. Oh, if y'all would, before you leave, because we want to try our best to make sure that we get you where you want to go and what you want to do, make sure you put your name on the hello, my name is here, and then check off. You can check off as many boxes as you want. You can check off none of the boxes, whatever you want to do. And then you can just leave those in that spot as well. You asked about whether you could have access to that or not. So one of the things I want to show you now is what our this ministry stuff looks like here. So let me. All of this stuff is digital, so you have access to any and all of it that you want. That's why you're actually giving us the your email addresses and stuff like that, because we're going to send you out a thing to show you or to get you involved in this if you want. And I need to stop talking because I can't do two things at once.
While you're looking for that, I was thinking too, most, if not all of you, are quite possibly have not done a background check or ministry safe within the last couple years. So I'm going to be sending names once we kind of figure out who's going where and who's signing up for what. I'll be sending Dale names, so you might be getting emails from him to complete that kind of stuff too, so we can have all that current and up to date for all of our volunteers.
This is yours as well. I'm not going to go through this. This is just basic, like, hey, here's what our goals are. This has the main like goals of the Grow curriculum in it, the why we're kind of doing it, what we consider wins as Bible study teachers, how we're going to engage with parents. A lot of this stuff is going to help. We have a lot of opportunity to connect with parents in this So we get to send them all these great parent resources throughout the weeks, at-home devotionals for the parents to do, at-home discussion guides that the parents can actually utilize with their own kids based off of the things that we're teaching them that same week. There's resources like videos on how to, for parents that we can send out that teach them how to handle kids with anxiety and all these kind of just really great resources that this is a wealth of. And so connecting with parents, just basic like things that you all know. You've worked in children's ministry for so long, but we want to, like I said, we want to try to be cohesive. We want to try to all be on the same page. So we wanted to give you this so you can have it. On the very back page, forgive me because this is also like the third printing of this thing. You'll notice there is a little sign-on sheet. This, you don't have to overthink this. This does have a back page to it. So I apologize, you lose a part of your volunteer book. If you want to grab one of these afterward, that's fine. The reason we're doing this is not because we're going to sit there and be like, we told you and you signed this page. What this is it's just saying like, you see our vision, you like our vision, you want to be a part of this vision, you agree to do this, but also what this is this is going to be valid for 1 year. And so what we're asking you to do is just to commit to it for a year. And then at the end of this year, this goes away and we can have what's called like a breakup party. I didn't even tell you this. I just thought this was a good idea. A breakup party where at the end of the year, we break up with all of you. So you don't even have to come and be like, look, I don't want to do this anymore. It's all done. Everybody's broken up with. And the next year, if you're on board with signing back on, here we go. That way, you guys don't. I know sometimes people get stuck in ministries and they don't want to say bad, they don't want to say no, or they don't want to say, I can't do this anymore. And so what we ask you to do, and you don't have to sign this tonight or anything, we want you to pray about it. We want you to really think about whether or not you can see this vision and that you want to be a part of this. We won't take there's no offense. Like if you're like, hey, this is my thing. I told you. Kids are not my thing, so I understand wholeheartedly. And so we want to make it as simple as possible to get you to sign on or not to this vision. So that's all this is. And again, even if we don't get these back, it's fine. You're still going to be welcome to show up and serve. It's just a formality kind of thing, so if that makes sense. Any questions about that? Yeah.
Like if we're doing music, do you want us to scoot over and do games then as well, or do you have a different game group?
It depends. If this is all who shows up, then yes, you're going to games.
And you're serving food, and then you're staying
Yes.
for Bible study too.
Yes.
Responsible for
Now, you
No,
What-
you can't.
a win from my book is these kids come each and every week and get excited to see Mary. That's a win from my book. Not that they go and have a great time in the games or eat good food or whatever it is. I want them to know who you guys are and to love you guys, because that's really what's going to make a lasting impact. We all have those teachers that we grew up with and that we can think of and remember that made an impact on our life. Some of us can remember Sunday school teachers and people in the church that have done that. And so that's what we want. We want that one-on-one. If you do music, it doesn't mean that if you've done music for the 4 through 6 and you want to go with them to the next thing, absolutely, go do it. That's what's going to be more important, that you are pouring into those kids and having fun with them and experiencing it with you, doing church with them there. That to me is way more important. So now, if we huddle up and we're like, only 3 of us are going to be here tonight, I don't know what we're going to do. And then that's what we're going to do, So.
Well, last year it was such a struggle to even figure out what to do some Wednesdays.
Yeah.
I was coming from Michelle. Okay, it's a whole new game plan tonight.
Yeah.
A whole new game plan the next one. I see Kane's name up there, 4 through 6. Oh, yay.
Yeah. Kane, I'm hoping Kane will bring some of the energy that maybe I lack and some of us lack. He's willing to come in and learn those dances and be up there and be silly with them and that kind of thing.
Work well. They worked.
Yeah.
That was one of the good things when we did Bible school.
Yes.
Because we had very few kids
I
that
think
would
that's
say, I don't want to do
their
it.
favorite time. Especially,
Yeah.
it's gonna be huge doing it in the sanctuary too. I think they'll enjoy that a lot.
Yes.
Because like you said earlier, the 4 through 6th graders, Those little boys didn't like choir, and that's why some of them
Yeah.
didn't come and they didn't want to go to choir.
Yeah.
They didn't want us
And
to have
and
music.
and regardless of whether they quit coming, they associated the whole night with one thing that they didn't like.
Right.
And that's what we don't want. Like, that's what we're trying to avoid. We want them to, like, even if they're not music people or dancing people, well, they'll at least do it for a little bit because they'll go and do something else. As opposed to, they just hate this and I'm not even giving the rest of it a chance. We're literally having trouble trying to convince them to come back that this is going to be something different because they have that wall up so hard. And so that's why it's just like, we're dealing with kids, and unfortunately, sometimes kids' parents aren't any more mature. I hate to say it that way, but it's true. And so that's why we're trying to take a holistic view on this, a whole family-oriented view. We're trying to invite the parents in on a lot of this as well. We want to also love on them and offer stuff for them as well. There's a little card down there, a little pink card. It's called a parent workshop. This is something that is on my heart. I'd love to be able to host some of these throughout the year during the same time that Blast is meeting. Just a parent workshop where we get to come together, talk through issues that they have, from a biblical perspective, that kind of thing. Be kind of more of a support group. Obviously, we have our First Light ministry that's taken off and it's going to be a wonderful blessing to this community and that kind of thing. And so all that. And so that's kind of what we're trying to go for here, ultimately. Oh, that's what I was showing you. This is our our hub here. This is where everything that we could possibly ever want for the next 2 years is all in this hub. We can get you access to this hub. You don't all actually need it. Like I said, because what we're going to create is they offer this thing literally called hubs. And what hubs are is it's kind of like a Facebook group, ultimately. It's kind of like the closest comparison. And in this Facebook group, we will be posting, and it'll go directly to your email. You can even sign up on there to get text alerts and stuff like that. Everything that you could possibly need. Reminders, all of the curriculums will be put on there. Any games that we want to post on there, everything will be posted on here. And it'll come to your main page basically here, where you'll be able to click and download all of it yourself if you want. You can just read our little announcements. If we are short on something and we need to write out there and say, hey, look, we need somebody who's willing to step in and help us run, music this week or something like that. We're going to do everything we possibly can to draw everybody to this section here. We're going to sign up the parents for a parent hub too, and that's another way that we're going to get them in to all of the resources and that kind of thing. I know I'm missing something there, and I don't know what it is, but you will have to forgive us because there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve between us because we're still trying to learn how all of the intricacies of this platform works. But this is kind of the starting point, ultimately. We will be putting every date that we can, everything into here. So you'll never have a question like when and where anything's happening and teaching, where we're teaching, what we're teaching on, and all that kind of stuff. Does that make sense? So I'll put the music in there. You'll be able to get on there and download those or watch them if you want, all of that.
How is the youth pastor search going?
We don't talk about that right now. We'll see. We'll just keep praying. We just keep praying for all that. So
this is a 12-month program?
Yes, ma'am. So we're going to run it just like we ran this year. So there will be an end time in May, and then June we have our camps. And then what's going to happen there is we want to stay on track with the teaching. So these teachings will flip to our Sunday morning only teaching times. But then we're also going to have a couple summer events. So we have our GA camp and our boys camp, but we also, there's this thing called Ready, Set, Race, which will be a fun little event that we'll do here. And then in July, we want to do the VBS type thing again, whether that be for consecutive nights or 4 nights in July, like what we did with the Summer Blast. We're going to do something like that as well. So there is still going to technically be something kind of going on throughout the rest of the year, but school year Blast will end in May and begin back in end of August, start of September again. We'll just kind of flip to a summer type schedule at that point, if that makes sense.
And the way their scope and sequence works, it goes for 3 years. So then it starts back over after 3 years. And it says that they spend like, for each year, they spend, a portion of the time in the Old Testament and then a portion in the New Testament.
That's what this little red box thing here is. Like the darker boxes are Old Testament, then they'll flip to New Testament from December to May, then they'll go back to Old Testament, and they do that. They flip back and forth through all of them. And it's really great. And for the teachers with the Bible lessons, these are, what they are is it's a whole bunch of stuff in there that you get to formulate and take out and add to however you want to. And so you make that curriculum the way you want it to fit. If you just want to take the Bible passages in there and you want to do everything else, that's fine. Like, because I understand, I can't teach curriculum very well. I always end up rewriting it anyways. We just want this to be as easy or as informative as you want it to be. And so you can take these and you can go word for it, or you can take it and make it your own, however you want to do it. We just want to be able to provide any of the necessary needs. So like, for instance, that first week with the rocket little activity that's tied in and whatnot, we do want it to be behind the themes, and I'll tell you why here in a second, but we want to be able to purchase all that stuff for you and have all that stuff ready for you and that kind of thing. So really it's just you becoming comfortable with the curriculum to teach it the way that you want to teach it and what you want to teach about it and that kind of thing.
So do the children have a workbook like they do in GAs?
No, they're not going to have a workbook. Every activity that they have, though, is tied around like those core values and the things that they're trying to teach for the week. And so they will have like the activities. A lot of times they'll have like a coloring page. They'll have a Bible memory verse time built into there where you're going to work together to memorize the scripture for the series and that kind of thing. But there's not a workbook necessarily.
And this packet here that we have, it is, if you notice at the top, it says it's for elementary. But as you go through it, it has different things. It says preteen hacks. So like Miss Ruddy with your group, you might need to implement some of those things to bring it up to a little bit higher age level. And then there's also preschool. So there's separate stuff for preschool.
So everybody gets the same, this will look the same. Okay.
Everybody will have the same lessons across all the
It's
age
just bringing it
groups.
up for- Is the memory verse each lesson, or is it for each?
No, it's
So like
for
that
each
Psalm
series.
119, 105 would have been for each.
Yes.
For
whole
4
series.
weeks.
Right.
Or,
One of the other things that we want to try to do is they have this section called environments. And so what we want to try to do is in the rooms that they're doing either the games, probably most likely the Bible study time, we want to go and try to create the environment based off the series. So this is for the Blast Off series. These are examples like that. They're just trying to make it kind of like VBS, really, honestly. What we're trying to do is create that like wow type factor. Like the kids walking in, they're like, oh, this is cool, And in 4 weeks, we're going to change it again. And I understand that there's some people who are just not week to week, kid people. This is another opportunity that we can get people involved in, creating these small, simple, environments that will help create that wow factor for these kids who, are used to just walking into a government painted type room and told to sit down and listen. And so,
Be able to stay up for the 4-week period?
Yes.
Over in the children's section?
yes. And so that's part of what we've been working on with the schedule and stuff, is trying to find rooms where it's not going to necessarily interfere with some of the other stuff that's going on. And we have some potential plans that we could maybe do a little bit of work in the children's ministry in some of the rooms, some that aren't used as often and that kind of thing, to help maybe take out some of the bigger, smaller classrooms and create a bigger room that we could create more of a actual worship type room, utility room, that we can kind of all come together and do that. That's the problem. We don't have a place that we can really all come together and really stay the whole time and those kind of things.
So
So
you are going to start incorporating Sunday's lessons with Wednesday's lessons, and that way the artwork can stay up?
yeah, so if you notice these little +1s and +3s that are here, the way that works is in order to get through all of these series, the way that we've had to do it, we've had to implement some of them on Sunday mornings. And then actually, the 2 series that we skipped, we're going to do on Sunday on the empty blank spaces. So every month, or every Sunday, for the most part, they're going to get more that are being built into the same series that they're getting on Wednesdays. Not every single one yet. We got to figure out, we're still figuring out some of that, but there is at least one Sunday each month, if not all Sundays each month. That's our goal. Our goal is to do both, to make Sunday mornings not Bible fellowship time, but the children's
In
church time.
children's church during worship
Yeah.
time.
So they're the ones that will experience the same curriculum, not repeated, but adding on to.
And that's just the younger kids, because
Yeah.
the older ones go into church, so.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Reinforce it all week, during the week.
Yes. That's what we're hoping. Like I said, it's not perfect. We're still trying to work out, I'm sure there's a million kinks that we haven't even thought of at this point. But that's our goal. What do you think? Any questions, comments, concerns?
I think it's neat.
I have some questions, but
Yeah.
since it's the Bible study time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
perhaps I should just talk with you and
Yeah.
Michelle later about it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Since it doesn't involve music. and
Yeah.
food and that.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I can say after. That's not a problem. Anything else? Michelle, anything you want to add or?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Well, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for all that you do in our church. We know that it's not even just this, but this is such a huge undertaking. We're appreciative that you still show up and that you are willing to give your time for this. And we're praying and seeking and searching for support for y'all as well, because we don't want it to all just be on you guys either. So that's what we're going to continue to work towards. And don't be afraid. Please come to me, come to Michelle. Concerns, things you don't like, things you want to see different. We always want to be approachable. I'm never going to just be like, shut up and go away. Like I want to make sure that you're happy, because if you're happy, then the ministry will be happy. So whatever we can do. Okay. Kane, will you close us out in prayer?
Absolutely. Father God, thank you for the time we get to get together. And Father God, I just pray for any unspoken prayer requests. Father, I just pray for this ministry, and I just pray for these upcoming weeks, leading up to the time that we all get to spend together, and to pray for the children, just to come to get to know your Son, Jesus Christ. God, I pray for everyone that's in here, and so thankful for those that are in here that are willing to give up their times. And Father God, I just pray for any unspoken prayer requests. I just pray for today and the rest of this week. We love you, we praise you in your name. Amen.
Amen.